Hey everybody, Josh Sigurdson of World Alternative Media here, and we are joined by Danny Sessom of the Crypto Show, someone I'm a big fan of, a big proponent of Dash as well. And today I wanted to talk with him about something that happened a few months back. We all remember what happened in Houston with the massive hurricane, the massive amount of flooding, and the relief effort that went on afterwards. And Danny was very much involved in that relief effort. I wanted you to kind of go into something you were telling me about the other night, Danny, which was how difficult it was to get past FEMA and, you know, trying to get food and water and necessities to people in Houston.
Yeah, they were very much in the way. So my first kind of encounter with that was at NRG Center. I went there to NRG Center, and I had a whole truckload of stuff to bring in to people. I'd met people earlier actually at Walmart while I was buying supplies, and they seen what I was buying, and they're like, man, I could sure use that. And I said, oh, really? Well, where are you at? So they told me about NRG Center, and I'm like, all right, good. I'll be over there later today. So I gather up the supplies, and I come to the front gate, and there's kind of it's not really a gate, but there's some police there, and they ask me what I'm doing, and I tell them, and they're like, no, you can't come in. We don't need any more. And in fact, they had signs up that said, no more donations needed. Right, so they sent me off to another one. I went to another one that was called William Brown Center or something like that. Something Brown, I'm sorry. And I went there, and it was the same thing. So at this point, I figured it out, like, screw this. So I go around to the other side of the building, and I just start talking to people. And then, yeah, they need these things. So we start handing this stuff out, and we're putting it right directly in their hands. So that's when I figured that stop asking permission. Don't ask permission. If you want to help when the government's around, just don't ask permission. Act like you know what you're doing, and then just go right in. So the following day, I went back to NRG Center with new supplies and just drove right past and act like I knew what I was doing. I went back to the press area, parked my vehicle, and just started asking people. And then we came across a guy who it turns out we had actually rescued him in another town because we have another team from the Crypto Show who had bought a boat and rushed in to pull people out of the water. He had actually rescued this guy in our Dash boat, and he remembered us because he seen the Dash on the truck. He's like, hey, I know you guys, and he told me all about it. But he helped us to sneak in. He told us how we can go in and get a volunteer's badge. So we got the volunteer's badge. We loaded all of our stuff on a cart, and we just walked in like we knew what we were doing, and they let us in. So then I stayed at the booth because I actually didn't bring my ID, but my two cohorts that were with me, they went inside, took pictures and everything, and they said it's crazy where they would have separate lines set up just to kind of occupy people. So the supplies that they did have, or not that they did have, but that they were willing to give out, they would separate them in lines just to kind of keep people busy. Well, now, what the other volunteers had told me is that all of the supplies were in another back room, and they weren't really giving it to people. They would just kind of dole it out. And another thing that really, really disturbed me is while I was standing there at that line, it's this kind of a checkpoint, almost TSA-style checkpoint, right? I'm standing there, and a guy and his son walk up, and the kid walks up. He's maybe 12 years old. He's wearing a T-shirt, same as mine, short sleeves. He just walks up, assumes the position like this, and they start shaking him down, But no, they don't stop at the sleeves. They go to his fingertips like he's a criminal. But what was disturbing to me is that it was just so normalized that the kid just assumes the position, and his parents said nothing about it.
And the indoctrination is so strong, it's unbelievable. It's abhorrent and disgusting, really. And just to go further into this, you were telling me, I think, about how inefficient the lineups were at these places where, you were waiting all this time for one product, then you have to wait in another.
Yeah, so that was, by design. They want to keep you busy, so you would have to go through one line and then another line to get what you needed. The other thing that was told to me is that there was a curfew. And so there was huge rooms where it's just a bed, cots are all lined up. And at 10 p.m., you sit on your bed like you're a prisoner. You have to have an escort to go to the bathroom. Like, you just lost everything, and you go to this center to help you, and it's no. So to, I guess, iterate how bad that is, I was also helping at a Jewish synagogue. All right, we were delivering stuff to them, and I met a family that was from Louisiana, from Katrina, And I asked them, well, hey, why aren't you at NRG Center? And they said, we'll never do that again. We went through that at Katrina, and we know what it's like. We would rather sleep on the damn street than have to go through that.
Well, it's absolutely unbelievable what FEMA does. I mean, you'd think they are so bad that they need TV advertising these days to promote themselves. And it's gotten to that point where, you expect, oh, the government is there for me. They're going to help me. They're going to keep me, safe and all that kind of. It's always a stupid thing to believe. It's always stupid to actually believe the government is going to be there to help you. There's always an ulterior motive. And it seemed like they were trying to ramp up fear among people rather than actually help people.
Yeah, they want to create the sense of dependence upon you. If I'm able to come in and give things to people, well, then people realize that they don't need the government. So I think the whole reason why they want to exclude me from personally handing things is they want to have this feeling that, yes, it came from the government. There was another city I went to, which was near Beaumont. I forgot, not Shreveport, Port Arthur. So we went to this one, and everybody was at the high school area there. And the police told me, yeah, just drop it off over there, and we'll hand it out. I'm like, no, I'm not dropping off nothing. So we take, I'm in my RV. We go back around to the other side of the building, and we just pretended like we knew what we were doing, like we belonged there. We set up a line, and everybody inside heard about it, and they came outside and they got food and towels and toothbrush and toothpaste. And then we went inside and took some photos afterwards, and everybody in that center had those things, but they did not have them before. So there was just piles of stuff. Basically, they're taking in things, but they're doling it out so that you feel dependent upon them.
Yeah, it's so sick to consider the fact that they are using people in such a terrible time. It's taking advantage of people, really, especially with what you were telling me about the lines, not taking donations. Instead of just getting a package, you're getting a toothbrush in one line and a bottle of water. And it's so absurd that it's almost unreal. But I know I've heard similar complaints by people that lived in Houston at the time. And I wanted to go into how cryptocurrencies have been able to help people prosper a lot more in these times when there's a natural disaster, and how you have been able to use them to better people's lives.
Okay, well, the storm was not even over, and we were actually doing our radio show, and the power went off for our antenna, so we had lost our signal. So we were just doing a Facebook Live video, and I was announcing that, hey, we have some funds left over from another project. We're going to go down to the coast, and we're going to get a few care packages and help people out. The listeners actually donated 10 Bitcoins, which at that time was $4,300. So we had about 6,000. Roger Ver donated another 6,000, and then someone donated 43,000. So I had around 60K, just like that. And that night, as soon as we got off air, I went and loaded my RV and headed into the storm. On my way in, I met people who were fleeing from the storm, and we met at Walmart. I stopped into Walmart to get my supplies, and I'm parked next to another RVer, and I'm like, where are you from? Rockport. He said, man, it's bad. So, I got my information from the people heading out on where I needed to be. And so I headed on in, and we were on the ground doing things, instantly. Our boat operation, after I was there about 2 days, one of my co-hosts on the show said, hey, man, we're thinking about getting a boat. So this idea was hatched at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And I said, yeah, that's a great idea. Go get a boat. So he went to Academy. He bought the very last boat. I called my printer. My printer had dash.org signs printed within an hour. So from 2 p.m. to midnight, he went from idea to action. He was in Beaumont with a boat and a team ready to pull people out of the water in just that many hours. I mean, so we were funded by Bitcoin. And to go back to the way I spent that, so the first place I stopped was Walmart on the way out of town. I used that Bitcoin to fund my Shift card, and I went into Walmart and I was buying, $1,000 a day and stuff every day. I actually contacted Shift, and they upped my limit to $2,000, so I was able to spend $2,000 a day on supplies at that point.
Well, and it's a beautiful thing to see people not just talking about individualism and voluntarism and freedom, but actually taking action and doing something themselves. That's what it all comes down to in the end. No government, you as an individual actually taking action over your own lives and helping other people. Because if not you, who else will? And that's so important to consider in this. I know you've built orphanages and stuff like that. It's just incredible work. Finishing it off, I wanted to quickly go into with you what's going on right now in Houston and what people can do to continue help, because the second the news cameras go off, everyone forgets. It's like clockwork, it's like, well, the TV told me to be concerned about this. Oh, they're not talking about it anymore. Well, I totally forget about it. But we need to keep pressing people to continue helping those that are still in a lot of dire need in Houston. So what can people do to continue to help people, and what is it like right now in Houston?
I'm not positive on that because we moved on to another effort in Mexico, but I did follow up with the efforts in Houston a couple of months later, and we actually worked with Stephen Baldwin, one of the Baldwin brothers, and Max Kaiser, and we actually they had some families picked out, and we did go in and we seen the damage, and I gave them each 10 dash, $6,000 each for their efforts to help fix the houses. So I would guess that it's through social media you should be able to find, or just drive there and maybe find the community centers and ask them.
Absolutely,
what's going on. But there is a lot because a lot of these people they're in the flood zone, so there's only so much that's paid by flood insurance, so they're pretty much screwed.
Yeah, and I wanted to mention the Liberty Coalition for Disaster Relief that I know Corey Watkins in Texas was doing a lot to help with Houston disaster relief, and Puerto Rico as well, and a lot of other places. Another good idea of libertarian kind of oriented charity, so that's something to definitely look into. The point is, when the cameras turn off, we should keep paying attention, and there are definitely more people that are still in dire need. A lot of people didn't have insurance in Houston on their homes, and that's a huge problem, and people need taken care of, and we are here, and if you're able in any way, in any capacity, instead of buying a fancy dinner, donate a few dollars. It definitely helps, and you feel a lot better about yourself at the end of the day when you're helping someone instead of buying a fancy dinner, just saying. So I really appreciate you going into this with us, Danny. Everyone should check out the Crypto Show. Where can people find you?
At thecryptoshow.com. You can actually scroll down. There's another page called Dash Cares, and that shows all of the media of the stuff that we did through the hurricane, through the earthquake, and everything. It's all just piled right there. All of our social medias are thecryptoshow.com, same with YouTube and everything else.
Absolutely. Make sure to check them out and support people that are actually trying to be the change you wish to see rather than just yapping on all day. That's very important. So thank you for going into this, and I'll talk to you soon.
All right.
Like what you see here, WAM? Don't forget to check the links below. GoFundMe, Patreon. We can't do it without you. Any donation is very much appreciated, especially as we are so overwhelmingly demonetized and censored by YouTube as the ADL comes in and flags all of our content as hate speech. Also, check our Bitcoin address in the description as well as on the screen for you to scan if you please. And also find us at steemit.com at Josh Sigurdson, the future of social media, where you get paid in the upvote of your post in Steem, the cryptocurrency. And also find us at the Red Pill Expo, which we have a reference link for below in the description and the comments as well. Hosted by G. Edward Griffin, amazing speakers coming out to speak this year. Don't miss it. It's in Spokane, Washington, June 21st to 23rd. We hope to see you there. But until next time, this is Josh Sigurdson signing out from World Alternative Media. Find the truth, be the change.
Wow.